transitioning from Zoey 101 to creating your own
Zoey
personal
101.
work? we're going down this.
Oh my god!
How's the light? Is it bright enough? The sunset's so beautiful right now.
We're good? Okay.
Wonderful. Okay, so we're talking about Zoey 101.
Are we getting hearts about Zoey 101 right now? Okay. Where are the hearts? I want to hear some. I want to hear the hearts. I want to see some hearts.
Okay, so you left Zoey 101. We'll talk about why, but first, what was it like transitioning from that into your own personal work?
Okay, so wait, what are we gonna first? How I left?
Sure.
I guess we should just start from there.
Sure. Why did you leave Zoey 101?
It was awful. It was sorry. I just want to be real. That was probably the worst. No, there's been some ones that have been.
Your character looks so happy all the time.
I know that's what the sad part about it is. Nicole's a beautiful, amazing, sweet friend, person, character that I love deeply, and I still have aspects of Nicole. Nicole was me in a lot of ways. Nicole wasn't even. I mean, to be honest, I watched many episodes of The OC, and I tried to make Nicole a lot like Summer from The OC, and that's kind of what inspired Nicole in a lot of ways. So shout out to
The OC.
OC.
For sure.
But Nicole had a lot of qualities that I still have and definitely had at the time. And it was a really amazing experience getting to know Nicole, but the experience on set ended up being drastically different than how I felt about Nicole. I got the show and was super excited. I was more excited to meet people my age because I was homeschooled a lot of my life, and I wasn't around a lot of people my age. I kind of grew up more around adults, and so I never really had the opportunity to know about people that were my age. And so getting into that experience with Zoey 101, I was super excited. I was like, oh cool, I'm gonna be surrounded by finally people my age, and we're gonna hang out, and we're gonna go to the movies, and we're gonna da-da-da. And I was so excited to talk about maybe boys with the girls, not with the guys, because they were talking about boys, they were talking about girls at the time. But I was really excited about that experience to get to have friends for the first time, so I was really isolated with being homeschooled. And so going into that, I was very excited. And then reality kicked in, and I discovered that the lead character on the show, who was supposed to be my best friend on screen, didn't really want to be my best friend in real life. And she was a little bit just distant from me, and I wasn't expecting that, and it kind of made me feel certain ways. But I kept trying to reach out to her, and I asked her to go and have sleepovers with me or to go to the movies, and she didn't really want that, and it was kind of a bummer because then when we were filming, we had to act as though we were best friends, and that was fine. I was used to acting my whole life, so it wasn't I couldn't pretend that was the case, but it surely wasn't. And there was a character on the show who played Dana, and Dana was older than us, and Dana played kind of a mean girl kind of character that kind of had maybe a soft spot in there that we had to find, which I'm sure that probably is the truth with her, to be honest. But while I was working on the show, Zoey and Dana in real life, which was Jamie and Kristen, started acting kind of as a unit, and I was kind of left out. And they would have sleepovers and all these different things, and then I was never invited to any of them, and it was a sad kind of realization to deal with at a young age. Obviously these are things when you're older, you're oh, what's the big deal? Who fucking cares about that? But when you're younger, it was sad because I really did want to be friends with everybody, and I felt very left out. And once that the other cast members started seeing that was what was being portrayed by the lead character, they wanted to impress the lead character, which I understand, and so they started acting like that too, and so everyone just kind of started becoming a clique, and I was really left out. So I would spend most of my days in my trailer with my mom, eating lunch and everything, because no one would sit with me, kind of, which was a horrible experience in general. It was awful, but it started to escalate, and all of a sudden every day I was on set, they would kind of team up together and tell me if I was like an alien because I was so nice, and they would make fun of me for smiling too much, and just like a lot of digs kind of on a regular basis. And it was starting to beat up my self-esteem, and I would cry to my mom every night. And my mom finally reached out to, the adults that were behind the camera, and literally every single adult was like telling my mom that I need to grow up, which, okay, that's totally fair, but I was 12 years old and I wasn't grown up yet, and I was balancing having to be a certain way on screen and balancing like how I was emotionally being charged off of, behind the scenes. And it was a very hard thing to balance. And for a child, it really starts to mess with your psyche in a lot of different ways, and creates a lot of self-doubt and self-worth issues and yada yada. And I felt like nobody was on my side. Like nobody even wanted to go like, I'm so sorry. Like, it's okay. Like, this is what happens sometimes. Like, it's part of being a teenager, or like whatever it is. Like, there was even just like no comfort whatsoever. So I just felt like my mom was the only person that was giving me the comfort. Then I had to show up on set and just always put a good face on and act like nothing was wrong. And that was a very hard process to experience.
So why did you end up leaving the show?
I'm getting there. It's a thing. So
It's a journey.
Light.
Want some light? Are we losing light?
Bye, son.
We're gonna have to move through. We're gonna have to move to another space.
Okay.
Because now this is a Zoey 101 chapter, and this is gonna be like,
The whole chapter.
this is gonna be a whole different chapter. We're gonna have to go into the. How are we? Should we move?
Yeah, let's walk.
Okay, let's walk.
Come on.
All right.
Let's walk and talk.
Oh my! Let's walk and talk. All right.
Okay.
Putting the shoes on. We're moving through time and space. Let's go. Oh my god. Let's out the wine. You paused.
I didn't.
Oh. Okay, we're moving. We're moving. We're going. The cord that is connecting you.
Okay, I'm gonna film you, Alexa.
No, we're going here?
Yeah.
No, come next to me. You're not filming. You're gonna
But I want to
go
see what
next to me.
let's see what people are saying. I want
No,
to.
once we get there, we're not there yet. We have many questions to go before we get there. I want to properly talk about this. I don't want it to be just like this kind of. Do you want to sit maybe here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can everybody see us and hear us right now? Is everyone good? Okay. All right. So, the last episode of the first season, there was an episode where me and Dana, the character Dana, had to basically go behind a rock and then like emerge from behind these like huge rocks in Malibu or Zuma Beach. I think it was Zuma Beach. And we had to like come around them, and it was just me and her, and I was so nervous to be like alone with her because the cameraman and everybody else was very, very, very far away, and we had to like run, to them. I forgot what we were even doing, but anyways, we go behind the rock and there's nobody there, and she pushes me into the rocks, and just started telling me some like not so nice things, and I heard action, and then we had to like run and pretend we were like friends all of a sudden, which was a trip. And we did the scenes, and then afterwards like ran to my mom, and I told her, and then obviously she went to the adults of the show and told them like this is what happened, and I don't feel like my daughter's safe anymore because now everyone's kind of not being so kind to her, and what is this about? And so we need to have a mediator, like somebody has to sit down with them and have them talk to each other and just settle it. Like Alexa doesn't not like anybody, like it seems like everyone's just not liking her, and like why don't we just have a conversation about it? So my mom kept begging for a conversation, but nobody wanted to have the conversation. So eventually I found out right before season 2 that Dana was no longer on the show. And I felt like kind of safe in that way. I was like, oh, maybe that dynamic between, Zoey and Dana, like Jamie and her, like maybe if that's not there anymore, maybe we'll have some peace for season 2, and like we can move forward and really get along and just like enjoy the process of working together. It was chill for the first like few episodes, and there was still, I still didn't feel like I could talk to Jamie, like that was just not a reality whatsoever. She didn't want to hang out with me. So that was fine. And I kind of just got used to it at that point. Like, I would sit with my mom, we'd talk. Sometimes I would talk to Sean Flynn, who was, like, very nice to me at that time. And, like, sometimes the boys were pretty chill. And it was okay. I found, like, the rhythm of it. And I found, like, where I felt safe. But then I became very close friends with Victoria Justice because Victoria and I have known each other for a long time because our parents knew each other. So we were really close. And I was like, yay, I finally have a friend on set. And, like, me and Victoria were, like, super close. Like, every day, hanging out. We had sleepovers. And I was like, yay, I finally got... We're finally going to movies. We're talking about boys. We're, like, doing all the things that I... Sounds silly. We were finally doing the things that, like, I wanted to be doing at that age, you know? And we got into, like, a weird dispute. Like, I don't even know. I think it was about a boy. Which is hilarious. And I wasn't even arguing with her. It was just, like, something weird happened one day. And all of a sudden, I got to set. And it was bad. Like, she was whispering to everybody and just saying things about me and not being friends with me anymore. And I was like, oh, no. This is going to be even worse than it was before. And I was so scared. But I was like, okay, whatever. Everyone told me just to be professional. Like, that's what they tell kids, by the way. Like, you be professional. What the fuck is professional to a kid? I don't know. You know? What is, like, I don't even think I knew what that word was when they were telling me. I was like, professional. You know? Okay, I'm just going to smile then the whole time, I guess that's what it means. Like, just to not pretend that nothing bad is happening, or you're not, like, feeling a certain kind of way. And then we got to the last episode, and I was in my trailer with my mom, and usually when you're a minor on set, they have to bring you, they basically have to tell the guardian, which is your parent, exactly where they're taking you, and you can't take any detours because you're a minor. So, like, the first AD's job is to be like, okay, I'm taking her from this spot to makeup and hair.
Yes.
And so Ian was his name, Ian. He was like, came to the trailer, knocked as usual, and was like, hey, I'm going to take Alexa to makeup and hair, we're going to start filming. I was like, cool, Alexa can go. So I'm walking with Ian, and he's like, wait. I could tell, like, energetically there was something weird happening, but I wasn't sure what it was, but I remember thinking, like, why is he nervous? And we were walking, and he goes, wait, and, like, he kind of, like, went like this to me. He was like, Jamie wants to talk to you in her trailer. And I remember looking at him going, when the hell, I mean, I wasn't thinking hell then, but, like, when would Jamie, like, ever want to talk to me, you know? It seemed strange. I was like, okay, maybe she's finally down for the conversation, though. Like, maybe she's inviting me in and we're going to settle. Like, whatever, however she feels, she'll say however she feels and how I feel or whatever. And he was like, so go. And I was like, okay. And he's like, yeah, Jamie's in there. She's ready to talk to you. And I remember thinking, like, maybe my mom should have known. Like, why didn't he say to my mom that if he knew that the whole time that Jamie wanted to talk to me, like, why didn't he tell my mom? And so I went up the stairs, and I remember opening the door, and I saw someone that looked like Jamie run to the back of the trailer. And she was the one who had the biggest trailer than all of us. She had, like, one of those big ones. We had, like, the smaller ones, but she had the big ones. So she, like, ran to the back, and I was like, that's weird. Why is Jamie running? And I walked in, and then I hate it because I'm an adult.
Let's go inside. Oh, light. It's okay.
Is it dark?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're moving again through time and space. This is...
It's a cliffhanger.
It's a... Oh my god, it's a cliffhanger?
Yeah.
This is getting... When this actually...
Dad can, like, be with my mom, though.
Why don't we just set it up in the room? Here. Give me... Unplug it. Don't end it. I'll talk to him. How do I... Oh, this is how I swap it. Okay, so we're moving. Sorry. It continues. Okay. It's a long interview. I know, it's about to get deeper, though.
Bugs just
What happened to the internet? Oh, there we go. Okay. Something like that. That feeling of being under a spotlight makes me feel like I'm being investigated. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm very happy that everybody is here and listening. By the way, I'm glad whoever showed up for the actual live stream of this. It makes me feel very happy that everyone's here. Because it's a weird conversation. And I don't really like the conversation. Okay, so I guess, continued. So 13-year-old me. Okay, so I'm like, picture 13-year-old Alexa.
I'm seeing it, yeah.
13-year-old Alexa. I like walk in and I think like, oh, maybe I'm supposed to like sit on the couch and like wait for her because like she ran to the back.
It's just a completely empty, large trailer with the first AD by your side.
No, the first AD left me.
You just open the door.
George told me to go in there.
Just go in there.
With no guardian.
Okay.
That's what's... And that's... You can't do that on set.
So there was no one... You walked in, no one's in there.
No one's in there. Well,
Okay.
No, Jamie ran across.
Right. You saw someone run to
Jamie.
the back. You saw her run to the back.
And I felt like it was Jamie, yeah.
Okay.
And then I like sat down.
Yeah.
I remember just going, okay, maybe she has to go change really quickly because we are about to go on set. So like I was just like, okay, maybe that's just the case. And she like ran to the back and then I sat down and I was just like waiting, for her to come out. And I was like, Jamie, and then all of a sudden, I'll never forget the image because like Britney just like came out and she was like kind of in just like a bralette kind of like thing. And you can sit down there if you want and just like zoom into us. You don't have to stand. Go back where you stand. She like just ran at me and I don't want to go
at you?
Yeah, like this close and started like berating me and telling me that she was going to make sure that nothing came of my career and that she was going to make sure of it and that nobody messes with her sister. And the whole time I'm just thinking Victoria in my head because I'm like, how does she think I never wanted to mess with her sister? There's no messing with her sister. Like there's never been a conflict. It's just like I've been trying to be friends with her and I've gotten no results from it, And she was like, nobody messes with my sister, and she's screaming at me, and then I start like getting sick to my stomach and I start to puke a little bit. And I tried to like run to the door and like she's blocking and she's still yelling at me and I like freeze up and I'm just like horrified by the whole experience. I don't know what to do. And at the same time I'm thinking in my head like, oh, I loved Britney Spears when I was younger and like she was somebody I looked up to at that time. So like to have her not like me felt awful. Like I all of a sudden was like, maybe I'm not somebody that should be liked because if like my idol from when I was younger doesn't like me, like that sucks. Like what a horrible feeling. And so, like, all these things are going through my head. I'm like, what did I do wrong? Like, trying to figure it out. And then she was kind of grossed out by, like, me being sick. And, like, I was begging her to, like, get out of there. And she, like, finally, like, unlocks and she's like, go. And I, like, ran to my trailer. I remember, like, not being able to, like, see anything. It was just, like, everything was, like, super blurry. I was, like, running to the trailer. And I ran in and I went right to the trailer and I started puking. And my mom's like, what the hell is going on? She, like, comes behind me and she's like, Alexa, tell me what's going on. And I was like trying to find the words, but I couldn't find any. Like everything was coming out as gibberish, and it's horrible.
At what point in the season was this? Like
season 2.
But
this
like,
was spring break. I think it was called the spring break episode. Surprisingly enough, it was our last day.
It was your last day of shooting,
which is basically what Britney Spears was like telling me. It was like after this, you're done.
Right.
Like
and
I
then,
will make sure that nothing happens.
And then tell me about the experience when you were taken into the boardroom at Nickelodeon.
So, well, let me rewind a little bit because I want to get to Dan.
Okay.
Dan. So, my poor mom, like, I hope there's like some mom out there like understands like if your daughter comes in and she's like throwing up and like you have no idea where she just was and like my mom was so scared for me. It was so I will never forget my mom's face because she just didn't know what happened to me, you know. And so I remember her like opening like the trailer and she's like screaming like Ian and like screaming Dan and just like screaming at anybody like what happened to my daughter, you know? And she's like she can't talk and so then Ian's nowhere to be seen. Ian flees. Ian just dipped out. Ian like knew what he just did and he was like, listen, I'm out of here. Like, and he was really close friends with the Spears. Like, he was very close with them. I'm pretty sure, like, they even hired. Like, they was very close. And so he just dipped. He was gone. So my mom was like, anybody? So then there was, like, another, like, PA or somebody that was like, what's going on? Like, I had no idea what was going on. And my mom was like, can you please get Dan? Get Dan here immediately. Get the producers here immediately. Someone needs to figure out what just happened to my daughter. So the PA is like, sure, okay, and like they're all in their walkie-talkies, and like you can just hear the chaos through like the walkies. It's just like, find Dan, find this person, and we waited for a while. And the whole time, my mom was like, "What happened?" I couldn't really tell her what happened, and I was like, I kind of almost want to wait because I remember hearing it in my mind, like I finally want the adults on the show to like understand what I'm going through. Like, now this has escalated too far for me, and like I'm hoping somebody's gonna come now and be like, let's solve this problem. It's gone too far. Someone's being bullied on a regular basis. They've come out to you, like, they've reached for help multiple times, and like now it's gone too far. So one of the executives comes in and they're just like so cocky. Like the way they come in, like with their like Ray-Bans, and there's like like they just like come in like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? Like kind of like CSI Miami. Like when he like dips down like the sunglasses, like comes through and he's like, what's going on? Like doesn't really care. He's just like getting paid. He just wants to be in and out. Like let's get to set. It's kind of his like I understand that's how they're trained. Like let's just get this moving. And I'm like sick, and my mom's telling him the scenario and like saying like she won't say what's happening. So then finally Dan walks in, and Dan has not helped the entire time. And I don't feel comfortable going into details about what I've seen with Dan or like what Dan is. But he comes through and with a smirk on his face. And because he's known the entire time that it was leading to this. He could have prevented this. Like he could have stepped in and been like, let's be friends here. We're on a kid's show. Like let's be, like even though we're kids, like an adult should step in and be like, let's be friends. Like how can we settle this? But no, that never happened. And so Dan comes in with like a smirk on his face, which he always had with me, not a nice guy. Comes in, he's like, what's going on? What happened, Alexa? Oh no, sorry, he goes, what happened now with you, Alexa? As if it's my fault, like immediately. And I finally start to blurt out, like, what happened? And like, what happened when I went to the trailer, and what happened? And he was like, you have to go on set. You have to film this last scene. And like had no care. He's like, but I have something for you that will probably make you feel better. And I remember being like, what? Like that's his response? Like I'm throwing up here. Like I'm sick to my stomach. This is awful. And his response that I need to get to set and that, he has something for me that's cool. And he just pulls out, those like portable DVD players that you could like put a DVD in and watch?
Yes.
He like his assistant like passes me this DVD thing. And I'm just like sitting on the floor like, I'm in the closet area, actually, because I was, like, so scared I was in the closet area. I'm, like, looking at this DVD player going, like, this fucking DVD player means nothing to me, dude. Like, what? So strange. He's like, okay, so now go on set, and let's finish this scene, and we'll talk about this later. And so, yet again, as a kid, I have to, like, be professional, even though I'm distraught and horrified, and literally want to never see the face. Like, I don't want to see the day ever again. Go on set. Everyone's being horrible to me. They started like shooting these water guns at me because like all the cast members had like water guns, and before we even started filming, they're like shooting water guns at me and laughing at me. Even like after they knew, because Jamie definitely knew what was going on. It was just horrible, and I'm like humiliated, just sitting there like have to pretend like I'm Nicole, who's like smiley and bubbly and like loves everybody and doing that. It's like a long-winded thing. I'm sorry, but so then afterwards, the execs call my mom and they're like, let's sit down with Alexa and, hear her side of the story and like what happened and blah, blah, blah. And so my mom calls my lawyer, which I find out later was in cahoots with Nickelodeon. So she didn't have my best interest in mind. And they're like, yeah, just go and meet up with the execs. It's going to be totally fine. We get to Nickelodeon on Sunset and there's all the execs there, including Dan. And they asked my mom if I can go in there alone. And my mom goes, no, absolutely not. And I remember going like, yeah, Mom, like, she's not going to like leave my side. Like, I'm afraid to be around any more adult. I'm afraid. And my mom goes, I have to call her lawyer first. We call my lawyer, and she ends up telling us that it's okay for me to go in there alone. Like, oh, it's fine. Nothing's going to happen to Alexa. Like, the adults are going to handle this professionally. Like, I kept hearing that word, professional. Everyone's going to handle it professionally. Everyone has to handle things professionally. None of that was ever happening. And so she was like, don't worry. Like, Dan's in there, the execs, etc. Like, you're going to be okay. And I was like, Mom, I really don't want to go in there alone. She's like, I promise. Like, these are adults now. Like, you're not dealing with Jamie. You're not dealing with... Like, Dan's sometimes mean, like, but, like, he has other people around him now, so everyone will be keeping a watch on this situation, this dialogue. And I go in there, and they literally sit me purposely. Here's a huge table that could seat, like, Jesus and his disciples. That just, like, goes across, and then they have, like, one chair for me on the other side. And I'm like, go sit down, Alexa. And literally the chair was too big for me. I felt so small. There's like 5 people in front of me that are all adults that are like Viacom and Nickelodeon, and Dan's right in the middle, so like directly across from me. Does not look happy. And basically they just went on this whole thing that it's not Nicole 101, it's called Zoey 101. If I wanted my own show, I should have went and got one. I have to basically be nice to I have to like handle whatever the lead character is dealing with, because I'm a side character and I don't matter when it comes like in industry terms. I have to put on a good face. Like, I can't take it just like it went on and on and on. Like, maybe there was some truth in what, like, Dan was like, maybe there's some truth in what Britney said. Like, maybe you shouldn't be in this industry. Like, maybe it's too much for you. Like, you can't handle it. It's like fucked up shit. Like, really, really. And it was like for 20 minutes I'm crying there just listening to all these adults like tell me that I don't really matter, that I shouldn't have been in the industry to begin with, that I don't really have a voice, that everything that I felt is irrelevant, basically, and that I need to be professional and just suck it up. And that's it. And he was like, well, who knows what's going to happen to you? And then they started telling me, like, you know what happens to kid stars? Like, nothing ends up happening with them. Like, your only chance is, like, continuing the show for a while, because, like, after you're not on it, like, people fall off. And it was just like this brainwashing, like, just making me feel like completely nothing. It was just like nothing. I felt like nothing. Anyways, I left the room and I was crying. I told my mom I never want to be around those people ever again. I felt absolutely horrible. I knew I was going to have, like, I already knew then in some way or another that I was going to need years of therapy or something, because that was just awful experience. I felt like nothing. I felt horrible. I felt really low. Anyways.
And that was the departure off of...
Okay. We're going to the public.
Okay.
About the situation.
Okay, can you sit over here? More light?
Yeah.
Beneke.
You want to find a good spot?
No, this is fine. Well, we can be like this.
I can sit right here and hold it.
No, you're good. You can totally... Okay.
Hello. Let's see what people are asking. Any questions at all? This is deep.
Yeah, no, it's too deep, Miko. Don't go down that rabbit hole.
Okay.
No, you just ask now. You don't need to do that. It's gonna get too crazy. Okay. Hello. Hi. That was a wild experience so far.
Oh my God.
This is very candid. This is
so real.
I hope, I don't even know what anyone's saying.
Why did Dana push you? Was Aaron nice? The boys?
You don't have to read every question out loud.
Okay.
So if I don't want to answer something, like...
Feel you.
Also, here. I need to be able to see. I don't like Dan personally.